Okay, here is part 2 for graphing linear equations and functions. Here we have two linear equations. Both of these equations will draw a graph. The question is, are these two lines parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Well, the way you determine that, you basically solve both for y, put them in y equals mx plus b form, find out what your m is, which represents slope. If the slopes are the same, it's parallel. If the slopes are negative reciprocal of each other, it's perpendicular. And if it's neither, it's neither. So let's take this equation, solve for y. Step 1, subtract 3x on both sides. First, let me make sure I set it up correctly so that I can write this out. Sorry. We're going to subtract 3x on both sides. So now you're going to have negative 5y equals negative 3x plus 15. Now you got one step. Divide by negative 5. And you're going to divide everything by negative 5. Well, I do that by going negative 5 divided by negative 5. That's 1. So that's y equals negative divided by negative is positive. So that's 3 over 5x. And then 15 divided by negative 5. I can't read my own hand right there. That's going to be negative 3. Well, notice my slope for this equation is 3 over 5. My slope for this equation is 3 over 5. Well, what does that tell me? These two lines are parallel. And I hope I spelled that right. I don't know if it's one R or two R's. The next concept is to determine whether a given relation is a function. Well, how do I determine if a relation is a function? Basically, the easy way to remember this, if your x values ever repeat itself, it's not a function. If you have a different x value every single time, then it is a function. Your y values, they can repeat itself, but only your x values cannot. So with that said, looking at this set of ordered pairs, is this a function? The answer is yes. This is a function. Okay, next, and I think this will be the final concept to help review for the test. Oops, I say that I got one more concept. Need to talk about quadrants. But what we have here, the problem in particular, is finding the slope. The slope for any two sets of ordered pairs is basically, you could take these and plot them, but your slope is simply the change in y over the change in x. So basically you just subtract the y values divided by subtracting the x values. So basically you're going to go negative 7 minus 5 divided by 4 minus negative 8. Well, negative 7 minus 5 is negative 12. And 4 minus negative 8, well, that's positive 12 because you just add here. And what's negative 12 divided by negative 12 divided by 12? Well, that's simply negative 1. So your slope or your steepness of this line is equal to negative 1. Next, last but not least, the last concept is simply to talk about the different quadrants. This quadrant here is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. We normally use Roman numerals to classify the x and y graph, writing out the quadrants, but you don't have to. The main thing with this is they give you a set of ordered pairs and they say the ordered pair is 1, 5. What quadrant is the ordered pair 1, 5 in? Well, it's going to be in this first quadrant somewhere. What about the ordered pair negative 2, negative 2? Negative 2, negative 2 will be in this quadrant. So you'll have several problems that discuss that as well. All right, for your test, again, the password should be given to you. It'll be given to you. And go ahead and do your best on this test. If you have any questions, let me know.